Growing up with such a public figure of a dad, how was that? I mean, same reason Trent Green wanted to stay here. He's a St. Louis guy. I got to talk to him the other day at his golf tournament, and he was like, I mean, I got done playing with the Chiefs, and I loved Kansas City. Why would I want to leave?
Yeah, exactly.
Did he ever, when you were, starting to get to the age where you'd play sports, did he encourage you to love sports, or you just naturally had that
I think
ability?
we were just doing it already. I mean, playing catch in the backyard, stuff like that. It was never forced or anything.
If you had any advice for like college athletes out there right now that are trying to become a college baseball player, what would you tell them to do?
Definitely work well in the classroom. That is important. Don't isolate yourself. Be out and about with guys. Get to know people on a personal level.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Next Gen podcast. Today I have lots of changes, lots of updates for you. It's been a couple weeks since we've done one of these podcasts. Sorry if you've missed us. It's probably no one out there but my mom that missed us, but that's okay. We are back, and today we have a really fun episode. Not only do I have an 810 worker with me today, not only do I have a KU baseball alum, I also have a family friend of maybe the most famous Royal ever there was. I don't know. We'll get into it. But everyone, I'd like you to meet one of my work coworkers, Dylan. Welcome to Next Gen. Thanks for being here. How's it going?
So far, so good.
Yeah,
having a good day.
Yeah, I'm going to hit golf balls later, so you can't really complain.
Exactly.
We've had good weather.
Yeah.
Did you miss the storms yesterday, or did you get caught up in that?
I was here. So
you were?
No, I didn't see them. I was in the Wichita studio. So
yeah,
I heard them through the roof.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the roof was leaking.
Yeah.
I went to the basement. We were all like, Lebo, you're the closest thing we have to a weatherman here. Tell us what's happening.
Well, at least he looks like the old weatherman.
I know, he kind of does.
Yeah,
and he was like, I'm not a weatherman, but like, this is what's happening, guys. Like,
yeah,
we trusted him to be up on the news. You know,
we didn't get it as bad as Wichita did.
I know.
My grandma's house kind of flooded a little bit.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, everything fixed, or like she has to do something? Yeah. All right, well, let's jump into everything. Before I start out the episode, I like to do some little like teaser questions, Yeah. So no wrong answers. First gut feeling you think of, but I will be judging your answers. So, okay. What is your all-time like lucky number?
Any repeating number, 22, 44, 66.
Fair enough.
Numbers I wore.
Why?
Aesthetically, I was always a fan of them.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how it started, kind of. My mom's father was a race car driver.
Okay.
And he was number 22, so I started wearing 22, and then in football I was 66, and then in college playing baseball I was 44. So I just kind of stuck with the repeating numbers.
I like it. Okay. Yeah. What is your biggest superstition? Every baseball guy, I feel like, either has a million things, so like we have to do it this way, or they just don't care.
Kind of the opposite.
Okay.
Not really superstition. Well, one, never comment on the pace of the game. Never say this game's going by really quick.
Okay. Well, what's gonna happen if you do?
The game will slow down.
Yeah.
It will muddy up.
All right. Okay. Give me like a snapshot memory of your favorite game that you ever got to play.
Mm-hmm. I was lucky enough to play football in high school right next to my older brother. He was a year ahead of me.
Nice.
So any one of those were really fun. But my senior year, I was pitching in a game on a Friday in the morning. So we got out of school all day and went up to Lawrence to pitch against Lee Summit West, and threw a complete game shutout, and kind of got the eye of KU's pitching coach from that. And KU baseball didn't pan out as planned, but I made too many friends to forget to even remember at that point.
Right.
Do that. So that was probably my favorite game ever, looking back on it.
Yeah, fair enough. And then last one before we kind of go back in time and look at, your college and high school career. What would be your all-time like dream job? Like basically, why are you at 810? How did this happen?
Man, I've always just been a fan of sports, obviously. Grew up in a household that really was sports centric to a point. I loved playing sports kind of all year round as much as you could.
Mm-hmm.
And, this just seemed like something. I mean, I watched ESPN growing up. That was one of my favorite things to do. MLB Network, Jim Rome on the radio, driving to games and stuff. Just listen to the local stations. And it always had in the back of my mind as somebody like to talk about sports and be around it. That, hey, if things worked out well, something like this would be a good fit. Yeah. And given some things going on, I just put myself in the right position and just got involved here and have loved it ever since.
Right.
A couple months now.
Before we go kind of back and look at all of your actual athletic career, all of that, let's look at what you're doing now. How'd you end up at 810? Like, how did that even happen?
Well, I was familiar with some people who worked here a little bit, so kind of got a foot in the door through
Yeah.
there and just came in and met with Gabe and Chad and said, "Hey, I understand that this is a thing where I'm going to need to start at the ground level, and I don't have any prior knowledge or experience in this, but I'm more than willing to learn. Just show up on time and try to put one foot in front of the other, and who knows what will come of it
Well,
or where."
you've got to touch a little bit of every field too. I mean,
Yeah, and that's what was proposed, and I said that sounds great to me. So
yeah.
here we are.
Do you enjoy more of like the promotion marketing side that you get to like do with me in Easton, or the producing Wichita part?
So far producing probably a little bit. It's just more sports centric and it's more you hear more and talk more.
Right.
Yeah, and it's a little more of a learning experience with working the board and everything, being all technical with it.
Yeah.
Sense of accomplishment when you do a good job with it.
For sure.
Yeah, but both have been good. You know, it's nice to see how the sausage gets made with remote setups and all the marketing stuff as well. So
yeah. Run me through? I don't know anything about the board.
Yeah.
I've Dylan has tried to teach me a couple times. It just doesn't stick in my head. What kind of things did you really have to like work on to remember, this is what I'm supposed to do?
I believe it was Jake told me my first day. The main thing is commercials play and make sure they're on the air. So that's kind of my focus. But picking the music coming back from breaks is fun.
Yeah.
With the Wichita shows and just chiming in occasionally and then just making it run.
Right.
And
right.
as somebody who's listened to sports talk radio for a long time, I mean, my brother shared a room growing up and we'd have it on all night.
Yeah.
And you don't really know how it's done. And then a couple days into it, you just kind of go, okay, this is a lot more than I anticipated. It's not on TV or anything. It's just people talking, but you figure I used to figure it was just buttons, two buttons, commercials, but there's so much more that goes into it. So it is interesting to see.
Yeah.
Just the backside.
Do you have any horror stories yet of like, we fell off the air, you forgot to play an ad?
We've been able to avoid
like knock on wood,
big things like that. When I've been subbing for Jack, nothing crazy has happened, maybe a couple seconds late with intro back from a break, but part of the learning experience is seeing how the people who are professionals at it get themselves out of trouble like that.
Yeah.
A little hiccup here and there, but you're right back.
Right.
So
right.
Yeah, you can't panic or anything like that.
With the Wichita show, I don't listen to that one because obviously that's our Wichita.
Yeah.
But give me a little bit of insight of what that show's actually like.
I like Shane a lot and Pat's really great too. They both mix in a lot of Kansas City talk, and then they do the Wichita Shockers, obviously, and a little bit of Wind Surge, the minor league team there. But they also talk KU, K-State, Kansas City sports, and then just a little overlap of national news and stuff. So it doesn't really feel like it's simply a Wichita show. It's a sports show in general that has ties to Wichita. I mean, they do high school athlete profiles, stuff like that.
Right.
So, I mean, seemingly from my limited experience, it seems like a really well done operation from both of them.
Yeah.
And Jack Johnson was a phenomenal teacher. And Jake's been great too when I go in with Steven in the morning. So yeah.
What's your like personal style with the show? Are you like, what music choices are you making? How often are you chiming in?
I throw a lot of stuff at him.
All right. Well, so what's kind of is your like, I know I'm gonna jump on this topic.
Well, they pretty much pick all the topics.
Right.
But I like to come out with throwbacks to older times or older players or something. Like I remember this when he did this, something similar to what happened the previous night or whatever.
Nice. When you're choosing the music, what's like your go-to kind of vibe?
I've hit Pat. Well, Shane picks his own music, which is tied into the day. So this artist was born or died on this day. We'll play a song by them. Yeah. With Pat, it's just kind of, you see the suggested YouTube.
Yep.
And you go from there. But every once in a while, you get one stuck in your head where you go, okay, I'll hit him with Return of the Mac or something.
Right. Yeah.
And it's fun when he reacts to it. He goes, ooh, yeah, it's makes me want to dance or something like that.
Yeah. So, I love when we get some like funky throwbacks on the radio that we don't think about a lot. But I feel like, you work in radio, you're a radio jockey. You have those just in the back of your head.
Nuggets, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So was producing ever on your mind, or you just
before this, absolutely not.
Okay.
I didn't know how it was done. I didn't know what it looked like. I didn't know what the board looked like at all. But just having an open mind coming in here and realizing that it's a good way to learn how this operates.
Yeah.
And then you can go from there. So, kind of just putting one foot in front of the other, trying to learn every day in here and
For sure.
see where it takes you.
On the promotion side, I know I've gotten to kind of be by your side for a lot of what you've gotten to do so far, and that's what I think is so much fun. I mean, Easton and I get to go out tomorrow to a golf tournament together and hang out for 4 hours.
Yeah.
But there was one specific story that we both got to live together that I wanted to like break down for those who have not heard it yet. Do you want to give a good retelling of our experience at sporting?
Oh yeah.
Of course.
Mass confusion.
Mass confusion.
The blind were leading the blind.
Yes. Okay, so let's give some backstory. This was for the May 4th Star Wars themed game at sporting. It was my first sporting game in like a long time. I don't go very often.
I've only been to a handful ever, yeah.
Right. So we're like, this is in our realm. Walk us into Kaufman. We're like, we know where to go, right?
Yeah.
We're good.
I know who to find, who to talk to.
Exactly. Go to sporting, don't know. Easton also, his little side gig is he works for sporting. And so he texted me that morning. All right, like this is where you guys need to go. This is where media check-in is, whatever. It's kind of tough with parking. You'll figure it out. So it's us two.
I don't know if we figured it out.
I don't think so either. We just kind of did every wrong option that, process of elimination. We finally
got a couple
right.
thousand steps out of it, yeah.
Oh, we totally. I wish I like knew that number of how many we got. But we get there, we meet up with our other intern buddy who's, Victor. He's been on the show before. He was here last year. He was helping out because no one else was available on a fine, it was a Sunday.
Sunday, yeah.
Yeah, fine Sunday afternoon. The weather was great though, honestly.
I think we got a tan, yeah.
Yeah, for early May, like it was probably a good 70, 75, like perfect weather. We park the truck, leave this intern with every piece of equipment that we have, all of our boxes of goodies, and we go and find parking. We make every wrong turn possible because their parking lot just confuses me so much around like the speedway and everything. And then decide to walk all the way around the stadium to get back to where Victor is waiting for by media call. Walk in there. Nope, you guys are in the wrong place.
Yeah, way wrong.
Which, we were doing what a sporting worker had told us to do. We thought we did the right thing.
Yeah.
So she essentially told us, like, hey, let's take your stuff, walk
out of here.
all the way. So we walk all the way around the entire stadium with a tent, with a folding table, with chairs. Did we have the table?
Yeah, I had my table.
Okay, yeah.
Which we didn't end up using.
Yeah, we didn't end up needing, which would have been nice to know that we wouldn't have to carry that around the whole stadium. But we have buckets of giveaways. We have all this stuff. We finally get to the right place and basically go through TSA level security.
Oh, they let me right in, but you two, they had problems.
Yeah, because you didn't have any equipment in your hands.
They gave me my wristband and I was on my way.
Yeah, they went through.
They wanted to look at everything you guys had.
Oh my gosh, which I understand it. I respect it from the sporting point of view, but I kind of wanted to be like, really?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to the game. I'm just sitting on the concourse.
Yeah.
I'm here for work. I'm not a fan. Like, these are my work bags. I'm not going to be trying to. They didn't like. I had a harmonica in my purse. I don't think you were around for that conversation.
I got a kick out of that,
yeah, just my little bar trick thing. Like, leave it alone, okay? I'm not pulling it out. I'm not giving everyone a performance here. Not happening. Would have been entertaining, but not happening. And they were no noisemakers. We couldn't have the foam footballs because they don't want things thrown. We weren't gonna give them out anyways. Yeah. That's just it just lives in my bag. They went through every single. They made me open up my purse. They went through the folds in my purse. It was chaotic.
Yeah, like 3 hours before the game too. Nobody's even there yet.
I know. I was like, we're leaving before the game. We're just handing out koozies. That is literally all we're doing. Leave us alone. But once we were in, we made some friends with the Commerce Bank people and just got to chill. Got to meet some Star Wars fans. We did. I gave mine to Easton yesterday. He has it hanging up in his cubicle.
Oh, lovely.
I know. I was like, actually, this was Dylan's, I think.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we survived.
It made for a decent Sunday.
It did. It did. We got to hang out. We got to, promote the company. Yeah. So, other than that, I'm trying to think, what other fun promotions events have you gotten to do so far?
Opening weekend of March Madness was able to go to Chicken and Pickle, 2 different locations with
Easton, yeah.
And yeah, that was kind of fun. Well, the games were on.
Right.
So there was really no downtime or anything. If you weren't walking around and talking to people, you were able to just watch the game. So that turned out pretty good.
Working in sports means watching a lot of sports.
And they hooked us up with a nice little spread too.
Perfect.
And Barrio one day with Petro.
I think I was sick that day. I was supposed to go with you guys. I was so jealous. Yeah.
No, the good spread that day.
Perfect. Okay, I'm trying to think what events this summer have you already been told about that Gabe's like keep this date open on your calendar?
None specifically, but just he has kind of relayed to me, try if you are available and these do work, it might be a good idea to hop on them. So that's kind of how I'm operating.
Well, one I'd recommend, I've talked about plenty on this show, but one of my favorites event of the year is the golf tournament. It is an early morning,
Yeah.
but it is super fun.
Yeah.
We get there, we all set it up, us and all of our 23 interns.
It's an army.
We got like our own little red army kicking right now.
The Hawk, yeah. I get the reference.
Yeah, I figured you would. But we'll get there early, like 4:30 or 5 a.m. wake up call, set everything up. But then after that, it's like they might say, "Hey, Dylan, your job is to man this beverage cart for the day. Enjoy yourself, but make sure that the clients enjoy themselves as well." And then you're basically a bartender for the day. Like it's super chill. It's also my favorite way to get to know a lot of our clients because we take like the big dogs, some of our most of the ones we've become friends with as well, get to play in the tournament, and they're just there golfing and having fun. But then you can be like, "Oh my gosh, I remember you. I was at the sporting game and saw you, or I was at the Speedway event that you were with for us." And then
behind
then they'll be like, "I remember you. Like, cheers to that." So that one's really fun.
Yeah,
it's a lot of work. It's very hot, but it's worth it. We always have barbecue for lunch, and
I imagine I'll be there.
Yeah, so you should be. That one's the one by far. If you only have to do one 8-10 event every year, that's the one I would choose.
Duly noted.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, I think we've covered pretty much what you're doing now.
Yeah.
Let's go to how you got here. So, let's start off with where it all started out, right? Your dad. If you're listening to this podcast and you're from Kansas City and you're not aware of who George Brett is, you must not be a sports fan.
I would imagine not, yeah.
I mean, like, that's like a hard thing for you to say because you're just young. Like, right. You're like, it's my dad. He's not that cool. Whatever.
He's a pretty cool guy, yeah.
He's pretty cool.
We have a good time.
Yeah. So George Brett, obviously, Hall of Fame, one of the biggest Royals names I think you can think of. But like, he's also just a dude, right? He's just your dad.
He is very much just a dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's a cool guy.
Tell me
about
a great dad. Growing up with such a public figure of a dad. How was that?
Well, I'm glad we lived here. He was from Los Angeles, and I don't remember, but we talk about sometimes they did consider moving back there, and I think that would have been completely different, obviously.
Yeah.
A big switch up. And I'm also kind of glad I'm not the oldest. I have an older brother who's about a year older than me, and a younger brother who's a year younger than me. We're all within 3 years of age.
That's kind of fun.
Yeah, we were all in high school at the same time. It was nice.
Yeah.
But we just kind of did it together. It all seemed really normal forever. We made friends at our public school we went to.
Where did you go?
Westwood View Elementary to Shawnee Mission East High School. Yeah, I like how I threw elementary school in there because that's
I know.
Because if we all think about it, me and my brothers, who I'm friends with their friends, they're friends with my friends, kind of thing. All three of our like greatest, longest, oldest friends we met when we were about 4 or 5 years old.
That's great though that you're all still tight.
Maintained that for 25 years now.
Yeah.
And I mean, I consider my younger brother's best friend one of mine, and my older brother's the same. And I mean, it's just we have a very interlocking big web of close friends that we all have.
That's awesome.
I mean, that's just in my mind made it extremely easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Kansas City in general is just a great place to grow up. And if you did go back to California, like I didn't personally live there, so I can't really speak on it. But I would imagine, I mean, they always say that Overland Park is one of like the best places to raise a family.
Yeah.
And like your dad having connections in the area, why would you go anywhere else?
Yeah. Well, I'm glad they didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kept you here. I mean, did he ever, when you were, starting to get to the age where you'd play sports, did he encourage you to love sports, or you just naturally had that ability?
We were just doing it already. I mean, playing catch in the backyard, stuff like that. It was never forced or anything, but even if it was, I don't think we would have hated it.
I mean, I'm sure he can give you some good like batting tips and whatnot.
Yeah, those worked out great. As a pitcher.
Wow.
No, me and my brothers just loved playing with each other in the yard. Friends over. We had a neighbor we grew up next to, who we play in the yard with him. Friends would come over. We had a big backyard.
Yeah.
Always something going on. I played on my older brother's baseball team growing up quite a bit, just here and there. So if I wasn't playing in my game, I'd be at his or playing, or just around each other's sporting events all the time.
Right.
And it never seemed abnormal, and I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Right. Are there ever those weird moments where people are like, "Oh my God, your dad," like, and try to kind of use that benefit of knowing you against you?
Against now.
Okay.
I mean, people might ask if I can get something signed. I say, hey, probably, but I'd rather not.
Yeah.
I'm pretty honest with people. Like, I don't like asking.
Right.
for that kind of stuff. Maybe once a year for somebody who has it for a good reason,
Right,
a
right.
grandparent or something. Yeah, but just for them to have, nah, I mean, but aside from that, no, I mean, my dad's a very normal person,
Mhm.
and that also has helped. My mom's a normal person. My mom's from Wichita. She's familiar with
Yeah,
the area. She went to KU.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Uh, so I mean, it's all just from the top down. Just kind of normalcy is kind of the
Yeah.
key.
I think that's why so many former professional athletes choose to stay in Kansas City.
Yeah.
I mean, same reason Trent Green wanted to stay here. He's a St. Louis guy. I got to talk to him the other day at his golf tournament, and he was like, I mean, I got done playing with the Chiefs and I loved Kansas City. Why would I want to
Yeah,
leave?
exactly. I already have a house. My kids are in school, enrolled in school.
Mhm.
I mean, I've known plenty of Royals players who've done the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, I know Travis Kelsey goes to the same Trader Joe's that I do.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Just the one up here on 119th. Like
Yeah.
I think Kansas City is good at letting people just live their life. We're not as
Yeah.
nosy where California.
You might run into different things.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that might have been a deciding factor.
It might have been.
Yeah.
So of course you did have a successful athletic career, I would say. Might not
Yeah.
have made the majors, but
No.
why did you want to be a college athlete? When was that kind of like decision made in your head?
Just trying to compete for as long as possible. That's really, I didn't fall in love with a singular sport.
Okay.
It was more of just teamwork, team atmospheres, and
Yeah.
competition.
Yeah.
And I didn't get to play much at KU or at all. I was hurt
Mhm.
my entire first year.
It's no fun.
Well, but at the same time, like I said earlier, I wouldn't trade a lot for anything.
Mm-hmm.
My experience on the team, I mean, we made great friends. We had a great time on and off the field. And guys I still talk to who don't live here anymore, still talk to them on the phone all the time. And a good contingency of those guys still live around here. And I tomorrow night go to dinner with about 5 of them. We
Right.
go every week.
That's fun.
And I just love a team locker room environment. And I was able to achieve that at KU for sure.
Right.
Even when I was off of the team, I still lived with everyone on the team. And there's a little sweet box right next to the dugout,
Right.
the Williams Fund.
Yep.
Which free beers.
Perfect.
So I
That's
may
all
have
you
been
need.
in there quite a bit, pretty
Mhm.
much every home game.
Yeah.
About 10 feet above and to the right of the dugout. But
Mhm.
I mean, holding conversations with the guys actively in the dugout throughout the game. And we just had a great time. And a lot of those guys on that team are still some of my best friends.
That's awesome. Do you ever
Yeah.
get to make it up to any other games?
I have been to a handful in the past 7 or 8 years,
Yeah.
maybe 3 or 4.
Okay.
But no, I'm pretty occupied with Royals games and work in the past. So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, now obviously you can kind of
yeah, maybe now work my way up there.
well, it's also like the one benefit I feel like of working in sports is if any of us are like, oh, I need to leave work early
Mhm.
because I'm going to a Royals game because I'm being a fan.
Yeah.
No one at 810 is gonna be
People might get it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No one's gonna hate on you because like they're gonna be like, oh, dude, I'm jealous. I want to go with you.
Yeah.
Like, so it's kind of a nice like we can all bond over that like understanding of this is a commitment in my life.
That's been something I've liked about working here.
Yeah.
Is it's very sports centric. And everyone's somewhat like-minded in that.
Yeah.
Everyone's in the same boat.
Yeah. I love every now and then. It doesn't happen as often right now because like personally, I don't like sports betting on like the MLB.
Yeah.
It's just a lot. Like there's a game every day.
Yeah.
It's hard to
People can bet on individual pitches and at bats.
Oh, I know. Which
Yeah.
is kind of fun, but also kind of like very degenerate.
Yeah.
But I love during football season, like the sales pitch, they'll all around like 3:00. In my head, it's like, oh, this is their 3:00 break. Basically, they'll all get together and be like, all right, Thursday night. What are we betting on tonight?
Yeah.
I think it's so cute. It's such like a little team bonding thing. It's
Yeah.
just people who actually enjoy working together because like we all have the same common love of sports.
Absolutely.
So let's talk a little more KU baseball. You did have a short-lived career there. How was it struggling to manage both the lifestyles of an athlete, a student, like young adult in a college
social life,
atmosphere? Yeah. How did you do that?
Well, 2 of those 3, student or athlete and social, were a little more heavily emphasized, which was
For
a
you,
mistake probably.
yeah.
My grades were never great. I was in Skip's office occasionally
Mm-hmm.
about academic performance.
That's all right.
But, worked my way out of that for
Yeah.
the most part. We had a lot of great guys on the team,
Mhm.
which made it good.
Good impact.
Social life was, we always found ways to have fun. And the team was pretty decent back then. My sophomore year, right after I stopped playing, the team went to a regional that year in Louisville, I believe, and similar fate that happened just recently in
Yeah,
KU.
unfortunate.
But I mean, making it there is quite an accomplishment.
Oh, for
the
sure.
Program. So,
did you follow the team at all this year?
check in occasionally. Yeah, a
Yeah.
couple of my buddies who played, kind of would keep me updated about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I was like, dang, we're kicking butt. I'm kind of thinking we're gonna
Yeah.
go far, and then of course, like round one, I was like, well,
It's tough. Yeah.
there goes that dream.
Yeah, and another saving grace with being at KU is I knew so many people up there, a grade ahead of me.
Yeah.
When I was a sophomore, a grade below me, and a bunch of my friends were in fraternities and stuff, and just around campus. So if there was never really a moment where I didn't have anyone to talk to or anything like that, you know, it was you'd see people on campus. Oh, what's up? What are you doing? Grab lunch with people, stuff like that. So
Yeah.
just and then eventually, you know, it's funny. A lot of my friends who are still around here that were baseball guys have integrated to be friends with the guys I knew growing up and stuff. Like everyone gets along, play golf occasionally. So it's really nice.
Yeah, for sure. I was looking into some of your high school records, which really
You can
cracked me
find
up.
those?
Yeah, you can.
Oh,
I
really?
couldn't. I really struggled with KU ones and figured out it was
Well,
because you were injured.
I didn't make an appearance. I was hurt,
exactly.
yeah.
And I was like, oh, he's on there, but I got no stats.
That's pretty good in the weight room. That's
But,
about it. Yeah,
yeah,
they don't
well,
post those though.
They don't.
Nah.
But I do have some high school stats that just really crack me up because, like, knowing you now so far past your athletic career and, like, looking at these stats of, oh, 17-year-old Dylan was out here doing this. And I'm like,
yeah, I graduated high school early. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, or like, young, I guess.
Yeah. And I was like looking at them. Obviously at Shawnee Mission East, I don't know what the program was like when you were there.
Pretty decent. Yeah.
It looks like it. And then you also played for KC Blaze in the summer. Were you always with them? I know.
No, I played for my high school team, and then they have stats for the KC Blaze.
No, it just said that you played there.
Okay. No, my brother had played there for a brief period of time.
Okay.
And so after I graduated from high school, I was still 17 years old and on my way to KU. So I had not signed up for any team because I was still holding out. I didn't sign until really late.
Okay.
I was trying to play football possibly too.
Oh, okay.
Or football.
Okay.
Which was a coin toss. And then KU called and I was like, yeah, that's the best thing I'm going to get for sure.
Yeah.
So I think went on 2 tournaments with the Blaze, one in Memphis and I think one around here. And I mean, I think if I remember correctly, pitched really well when I was with them. But one of the most fun summers I ever had was being 17. There's the Shawnee Mission East 18 and under team for the summer, which my younger brother and all his friends were on.
Yeah.
We had the best time ever.
Okay. Why?
My younger brother's group of friends are the funniest guys.
All right.
They were my team I was on was a little more serious, to put it that way. They had 2 really good players and then a bunch of guys who were just kind of, they had a good time and they were decent.
Yeah.
But they had some great team camaraderie, which my team did as well. But it just being my younger brother's group of friends, I had played with my older brother in baseball and football, but never my younger brother. And so I think it was new and we just had an absolute blast.
Right.
Yeah.
When did you make the change over to being just like a PO?
My junior year.
Okay.
And then I caught a little bit and still hit my senior year too.
Okay.
But I was like the main reliever my junior year.
What put you on the pitching track?
I had always somewhat done it. I had a good arm as a catcher. I would say it was above average, at least for, youth sports around here.
Yeah.
I could throw the ball better than probably anything else I could do.
Right.
And, as a catcher, you are with pitchers a lot. And I had always been able to, fortunately, work with the Royals pitching coach a little bit in spring training once or twice a year.
Yeah.
Go in early with my dad and, hit a little bit and do whatever.
Yeah.
Side, as long as you're not in the way. And, was a natural thrower of the ball somewhat to a extent where I was good enough to go to college, I guess.
Right. Yes.
Walk on in college.
Yeah, casually.
And I just like the mentality of pitching. It's you with the ball and you start the play.
Yeah.
And just kind of found some success with it. Could throw a cutter and a slider pretty well in high school. That was beneficial. And the more and more I did it, my junior year out of the bullpen, just stuck with it kind of as my main position into my senior year, and then ended up making half the starts, I think, for our team. Me and one guy made mostly every start.
Nice.
Yeah.
See, baseball is so much different than softball. I played softball throughout. I was supposed to play in college and then got injured. But it's so funny to me that a pitcher in softball is very different than a pitcher in baseball, just like the position itself.
Yeah.
Obviously, the motion is different. We all know that.
Yeah.
But a pitcher in softball, you don't injure your arm like you do in baseball. You can go up and hit next inning. Like, it's more common to do that. You know, you can go directly from playing second base to pitching in the same inning. You don't go to the bullpen. Yeah, it's just.
Yeah.
And so I was always just so confused. Like, even my brother's a PO now. And I'm like, I don't get the appeal. I don't get why someone would want that mental, like, all on me approach.
Well, if it's what you're good at and it gives you an opportunity to benefit the team, you kind of just have to fall on your sword and just say, hey, this is what I'm going to focus on.
Yeah. Just put that confidence in yourself.
Yeah.
If you were ever in a rut and you're just like, man, I just walked 3 guys or whatever, like, I don't want to get pulled. I want to, I don't want to pull my team under with me. How do you kind of switch up your mindset and say, like, we need to get some strikes across the plate?
Just revert back to your mechanics, kind of.
Right.
In hindsight, thinking back that long ago, yeah, just getting intense with your mechanics and trying to revert back to what you know how to do, simplify things,
right,
and just put yourself in a position to do the job.
If you had any advice for, like, freshman year college athlete Dylan or any of the, college athletes out there right now that are trying to become a college baseball player, what would you tell them to do?
It's tough to say because it's so different now with how college athletics work.
Yeah.
Definitely work well in the classroom. That is important. Also, just try to commingle with everyone in the locker room. Don't isolate yourself. Be out and about with guys. Get to know people on a personal level. Outside of baseball, become friends with them too.
Yeah.
So that way, when you need to have a real conversation, you can, because your life outside of the locker room can affect your play on the field. And if you're not integrated with the guys you're around a lot, that's another thing. You are around the guys on your team way more in a college setting than you are tournament ball or high school baseball.
Right.
And you really need to be able to lean on guys that I might not have even known 2 months ago.
Right.
It might take longer than 2 months, but you need to become, it's a little bit of a family atmosphere. You're around each other for so much time. So you might not have time to go, do something you want to do. And you're around these guys, you might as well make the most of it and become friends with them too. So,
right.
Yeah.
Well, I think that is all I had to talk about. Unless you had anything you wanted to mention.
Also, do not hurt your shoulder and have reconstructive shoulder surgery body surfing 2 weeks before you start your college career. Do not do that. That's a bad idea.
Body surfing. See, when I knew you were injured,
that's how I got hurt.
I always just assumed it was a baseball injury.
No, I never got hurt playing baseball. It was always football and then outside.
Alrighty. That's fair.
Try to have fun.
Protect yourself when you're about to start your season. Yeah.
Just be smart.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, Dylan, this was always great. Always great getting to chat with you.
I appreciate it.
So until next time we get to do this, but I'm going to go ahead and close out the show. But before I do, I always literally forget this and then bring it back at the last moment. Give me your bingo square. We talked about this earlier. Everyone that's listening, we do this every episode. I need one bingo square that I'm counting on you to actually happen, because so far 4 of my 5 have not happened.
We'll stay on the KU trend. Is KU football winning 8 or more games?
I think that's pretty fair.
Yeah.
How many did we win this year? This year was
5, but weird circumstances. Lost a few they shouldn't have lost, and then finished the season hot. I love our coach.
Yeah.
Everything I see, the recruiting looks good. You got your quarterback back. I'm just hopeful, because college football is a lot of fun when your team that you root for. I root for a lot of teams, but
okay. Who are your other teams now? I'm curious, because I have 3.
Okay, who are yours?
So KU, obviously, and then Arizona State. Okay. Which was really fun to watch this year. I became a fan this year because my boyfriend just graduated there and he was a huge fan. So I was like, I can get down with this. Like, unless they're playing KU, like, it's a fun team to watch, especially this year.
Yeah.
And then my sister was just a freshman at Ole Miss.
Yeah, my younger brother, Ole Miss is mine. My younger brother graduated from Ole Miss.
Perfect. When did you graduate? I guess you guys are older than us.
2018.
Okay, so cool. So when I was a freshman in high school, so I would not have known about any of that then.
Yeah, and then a random team like South Carolina this year, like Sellers at quarterback. He's cool.
Okay.
And then you like a player, you keep an open slot, and you root for the team he's on.
Yep. That's what I keep saying. Because of Ole Miss, I'm a Jackson Dart fan. Oh, of course. And I'm like, I guess I got a new NFL team now.
Yeah, well.
And I think, if I remember right, I'm like the worst with draft stuff and like stats, but I think him and then Cam Scatabo from Arizona State.
They
I
both
think
went to the Giants, correct?
Yeah. I was gonna say it's either they're both in New York in general or they are on the actual same team.
Yeah.
So I'm like, maybe I'm a Giants fan now.
Best of both worlds.
I don't know. At least for them.
Yeah.
I don't care about anyone else. But if they do well, I'll be happy. So, alrighty. I think that's all. Wait, eight games this year. I need to remember that. I need to write that down.
8 or over.
I gotta lock in and make sure that I'm actually keeping track of this bingo board. And I need all my guests to start picking some better things. So that is all I got. Let me do my little outro and we'll get out of here.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me.
Of course. See you later, Dylan. All right, so this episode is brought to you for the first time ever. Yes, we found a sponsor. We are so happy to work with the Bullpen Bar and Grill off 135th and Quivira. So we will be telling you a little bit about them throughout the summer, as well as hosting an event there later this summer. So we'll just get into that. But for now, just wanted to put that in there and say that from now on, our favorite bar is the Bullpen Bar and Grill off 135th. That is all I got until next time. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and we will see you later.